Hi, kindergarten, and welcome to another week of our journal writing. This week, we're going to be learning about a new kind of story, and that story is called a narrative. And boys and girls, a narrative is a story that you tell that really happened to you in your life. So you tell a story that's true that happened to you, and you also include things like how it made you feel. So let me give you an example. Here's my narrative. This weekend, my family and I decorated our house for Christmas and winter. It made me feel so happy. It looks beautiful. So you might have heard some words in there like I or my or we. So those kinds of words, they're called pronouns, and they tell the reader that the story is about you. You are the character. So personal narratives are about you and what happened in your life. So there's 4 things I want you to remember about a narrative. Number 1 is that narratives tell about what happened to you. So they are not made up. So we're not going to hear anything about dinosaurs. We're not going to hear anything about aliens. We're not going to hear anything about anything that doesn't really exist. If it didn't really happen to you, then it's not a personal narrative. Second thing, they're going to contain words, like I said, like I and my and me and we, those kinds of words. And those words, like I said, are called pronouns. The third thing we want to know is that a narrative always contains your feelings. So it always lets the reader know how you felt. Were you sad? Were you happy? Were you excited? Were you scared? Were you frustrated? Were you silly? Were you laughing? Was it funny? So those are the kinds of things that you would share in your narrative. And then last, it goes in what we call chronological order. So we talk about our first event and our second event, our third event, and our last event. And we call that, boys and girls, beginning, middle, and end. So I want to share with you a really good example of a narrative. And that is this book, When I Was Little. And it's written by Jamie Lee Curtis, and it's illustrated by Laura Cornell. When I'm reading this, boys and girls, I want you to be listening for words like I, my, me, we, words that let us know that it is, in fact, Miss Jamie Lee Curtis, our author, telling what happened to her. Okay, so when you hear those words like I and me and my, I want you to put your finger on your nose. So every time you hear one of those pronouns, I, my, me, or we, put your finger on your nose. Okay? When I Was Little, a 4-year-old's memoir of her youth. And a memoir is just a fancy word that means stories that you are telling about yourself. All right. When I was little, I was a baby. We were all babies once, right? When I was little, I cried a lot. Now I use words like no. When I was little, I didn't know I was a girl. My mom told me. We should have lots of fingers on noses. I heard lots of I's and my's and me's. When I was little, I had silly hair. Now I can wear it in a ponytail or braids or pigtails or a pom-pom. When I was little, I didn't get to eat Captain Crunch or paint my toenails bubblegum pink. When I was little, I spilled a lot. My mom said I was a handful. Now I'm helpful. Oh my. Has your mom or dad ever said you can be a handful? Probably not, right? When I was little, I rode in a baby car seat. Now I ride like a grown up and wave at policemen. So now maybe boys and girls, you rode in a car seat when you were little. Maybe now you're in a booster seat. When I was little, I went to Mommy and Me. Now I go to nursery school and I have teachers and cubbies and nap time and secrets. When I was little, I didn't understand timeouts. Now I do, but I don't like them. I bet you don't get many timeouts, right? I hope not. When I was little, I made up words like scoop-de-doo. Now I make up songs. When I was little, I swam in the pool with boys. I still do, but now we wear bathing suits, but we don't wear floaties. So sometimes when you're a little baby, you don't have to wear bathing suits so much, but now that you're older, you do. And if you've had swimming lessons and you are a good swimmer, maybe, just maybe, you don't have to wear floaties. But I would think a lot of kindergartners may still have to wear floaties, and that's totally fine. You want to be safe in the water. When I was little, the slide at the park was so big. Now it's smaller, but I still like my granny to wait at the bottom for me. When I was little, I ate goo and yucky stuff. Now I eat pizza and noodles and fruit and Cheetos. When I was little, I had 2 teeth. Now I have lots and I know how to brush them. When I was little, I slept in a zoo. Now I sleep in a big bed and get to play monkey. What do you think she meant, boys and girls, that she slept in a zoo? Did she really sleep in a zoo? No. She slept where? Where is that? A crib. And I bet she's calling that a zoo because it's kind of like a cage in a way with the bars. So she was just being silly. She didn't really sleep at the zoo. When I was little, I kissed my mom goodnight every night. Or my mom and dad goodnight every night. I still do, but only after they read me a book and we play tickle torture. Hopefully you read us a book with your grown-up before you go to bed at night. It's a good way to unwind and calm down. When I was little, I didn't know what a family was. When I was little, I didn't know what dreams were. When I was little, I didn't know who I was. There's a lot of eyes on that page. Now I do. So friends, our author, Jamie Lee Curtis, was the one telling our story. So because she was telling about things that happened to her, we heard words like I and my and me because they were all things that happened to her in her childhood. So friends, what you're going to do today. We're going to do this over 2 days. So you're going to do a little bit today and then a little bit tomorrow, and then we'll put it all together. Okay. So you are going to get your journal and a pencil, but then I want you to watch me first. Okay. And we're all going to write about our own experience. So your experience is going to be different than mine. So nobody's journal should be the same as mine. My journal might give you some ideas, but I want you to tell your own narrative about what happened to you. So today, friends, we're going to write about something just like our author, Jamie Lee Curtis, did. We're going to write about something that happened to you when you were little, okay? So when you were younger than you are now, it could have been last year, it could have been when you were 3 or 2, or maybe it was something you did as a baby that your grown-up has told you about, okay? I'm going to share my example, and then I'm going to show you what you're going to do, and then you're going to do yours. But yours probably is not going to be like mine because we all have different experiences, okay? So maybe a grown-up can help you with something that you did when you were little, and I'm going to show you what I did. So my narrative, I'm going to say, is when I was little, I'm going to share what I did. I played school all the time. I lined up my stuffed animals on my bed. I had an easel, kind of like this, but smaller. And I would pretend to teach my stuffed animals and my Barbie dolls. And it made me so happy, and it was so fun. I did that all the time. My parents told me and tell me stories about how I would do that all the time when I was a kid. And I remember doing that too. So what I'm going to do, that's going to be my story. I'm not going to write all of that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my journal page, which I have a really big version of your journal page on my wall right here. I'm going to take a marker. I'm going to use black just so it stands out to you. You're going to use a pencil, okay? I'm going to write, try not to unplug my cords. I'm going to write a B up here, an M right here, and an E right here. And friends, this stands for beginning, middle, and the end. And what I'm going to do, you can go ahead and do this in your journal because we're going to pause in a second. So take your pencil and on your journal at the top beside the first box, write the letter B, a capital B. In the middle box, you're going to write a capital letter M. And in the last box, you're going to write a capital letter E. Go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to show you what to do next. Okay, friends, hopefully by now you have your B, your M, and your E written on each of those rectangles, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do next. So if you need some help figuring out a narrative, ask a grown-up to maybe give you some ideas of things that have happened to you in your past that would be easy for you to write about. Come with me. I'm going to show you what I wrote about, or actually drew about. So I'm going to bring you over here so you can see. Remember my story that I told you about how, whoopsies, there we go. When I was little, I used to teach to my stuffed animals on my bed, and I loved it. It was so much fun, and it made me so happy. So here's a picture of my beginning, a picture of me in my bedroom. That's my bed, and I just drew circles for my stuffed animals because you don't have to be super detailed in your drawings anymore. And then I wrote ABC because I'm teaching them the alphabet. And then I labeled my drawing. This is me, ing. Okay? So you would stretch and write your label for your word. Don't worry if you don't spell it the same way a grown-up spells it. You just want to spell it the way you hear the sounds. So this is me teaching. In the middle, I'm going to say what I'm doing or how it's making me feel. It is fun for me, or it was fun for me. So I drew me teaching again, and I stretched the word fun. Fun. And I wrote that there in the middle. So here, this is what you were doing, how you were doing it, or how it made you feel. And then another detail about how it made you feel, okay? So maybe this part is more like what it was like for you, okay? And then how it made you feel. So I was running out of ink. That's a big smile on my face. I don't know if you can tell, but my pink marker was running out. I have a big smile on my face and I chunked the word happy, or I stretched the word happy. A-P-E. I wrote all the sounds I heard. So I have my beginning, my middle, and my end. So friends, that's what you're going to do today. You're actually not really going to do a lot of writing today. You are going to figure out what your narrative is going to be for today. Okay, a story about you that really happened to you in the past when you were little. So think of something, or maybe have a grown-up help you figure out something that happened to you when you were little. It could be a happy thing. It could be a funny thing. It could be a sad thing. It could be anything that you want it to be. And then you're going to do B-M-E and do a little picture and a label for the beginning, a little picture and label for the middle and like how it happened, and then a picture at the end for how it made you feel. Okay? That's all we're doing today. Tomorrow we will pick back up and we will actually move forward with our writing tomorrow. So today is just drawing and labeling. Have fun, friends. I can't wait to see what's happened to you when you were little.